Oh, that's nice. Tell them then. Tell them all. So, Zena was going to intro the video, but she got camera shy. So I'm going to intro the video. She's coming back there now. Just because she wants to tickle. So today is a push day. I'm actually feeling a little bit better today because we trained legs yesterday. And I went pretty heavy on everything. Everything felt really achy when I woke up this morning. This is how you know you're really off season. Because I had my arms in a locked position for my squats as well, I feel like I've already done my push workout. I've not even done it yet. So my shoulders, when I'd finished my squats yesterday, felt pumped from being in this position. Anyway, we're on for push today. The last time I did this session, actually Ed filmed it for the Train by JP site on Christmas Day. Yes, we train on Christmas Day, and yes, Ed works on Christmas Day, because that's just what we do. Anyway, last time I did this session, I actually got some pretty hefty numbers. We'll see how today goes post that leg session yesterday, because I don't know if my arms are going to be able to hack the heavy loading that we had on, but it might feel good once I get into the gym. I don't not feel good, I just don't feel... I feel a little bit fragile, I think that's the word. I feel like I've been on a massive bender a little bit, so hopefully we'll feel a little bit better. Had a lovely morning walking with my lovely friend Estelle and all of her lovely dogs. If you're actually looking for anyone to train your dogs or walk your dogs in the West Yorkshire or South Yorkshire area, especially if you've got dogs with behavioural issues, check her out on Instagram. It's called Lucky Paws Huddersfield. She's actually fantastic. You should have seen the way that her dog started with not even being able to be touched to now just doing everything and anything, and just super obedient as well. So check her out. But yeah, gonna do some work. Still got some last little bits of the admin stuff. Never ever ever take on the job of transferring over every single one of your clients from one payment platform to the other, because it's alright at the bottom. Anyway, gonna crack on with that. Then gonna have our pre-workout meal made by Senor Cuba, and then we will head to the gym.
Want to run us through what today's session's supposed to be then, exercise selection wise and all that? That is aimed at you, yeah.
So we will kick off. Am I doing side laterals?
Yeah.
So we're kicking off the session with a single arm Atlantis side lateral. We will then move on to, I'm going to move on to the Nautilus shoulder press. We've been running the Smith press for quite some time. Obviously we moved over onto the Cybex just after I'd finished prep, just when we obviously went into the off season, but we'd actually been running the Smith press for quite a long time. I think that we started it just before prep, so that's at least, would it have been like 30-40 weeks? No, 30 weeks, wouldn't it? Yeah, because it's like 10 weeks per show now. So it was a long time. Obviously, I was still having little small progressions, but it wasn't massive. Cooper had got to a point where it was pretty much coming to a halt, if not regressing most sessions anyway. So obviously that's why we'd switch things up. Cooper doesn't like the Nautilus press, because I'm stronger on it, basically. So it's fine. Definitely stronger. So yeah, gonna roll with that today. We then move on to the... Do you move on to the... I move on to the strive press, don't I? Yeah, I move on to the prime strive press. Cooper moves on to a different incline press. We then go on to a close grip press for tricep focus for me, and Cooper does it more for his chest focus for him, on the prime flat bench. And then we move on to... I move on to the line cuff laterals, again more shoulder focus. My push sessions are basically shoulder focus because I need massive delts. Have a little bit of chest in there, but not a massive amount, because I don't really do any poses that really tense my chest on any of them, but it's good to obviously still have it there to have a nice balanced top line. Whereas Kuba, obviously with his class that he does, he needs a massive chest as well as needing massive delts. So he does obviously a chest focus push session as well as obviously a shoulder focus push session. So that's why we obviously have exercises that are similar or close knit in terms of the location in the gym, but slightly different in what we actually hit, just because obviously my needs are different to his. I think that's one big factor that we've actually changed this off season, is that last off season, especially when we first started, like I was doing a lot of Kuba's training, which it was great, and I did build a lot of size last year, but again, just to be better, we needed something that was much more based upon my needs analysis. So that's why I do a little bit more kind of work that's on my own now compared to what we did last year, which is nice because we still do a lot of stuff together, and he'll still able to spot me or whatnot and look through my sessions, but I branch off so that I can do things that I need to build up compared to obviously differences that Kuba needs to build up. So that is the second to last exercise. Then move on to an overhead tricep extension, and that is it. That is the session. That is how it will go. I'll probably talk shit throughout it, but that's the norm. So yeah, that's the session. In this rice meal for the last 5 weeks, thinking to myself, I just don't like rice anymore. But in actual fact, I just don't like prawns.
It's a hard life, isn't it, Meg?
It's a hard life. I don't like prawns. If what?
How would you do if you hit more reps on one side than the other?
I tend to do my strong side and then try to match it on my weak side. So sometimes I tend to find that I do one less reps, sometimes, not always, on the weaker side, just because it's weaker. There's not really much I can do about it apart from move on to the next time and hopefully that I get an extra rep. But the idea obviously behind doing the unilateral is to build it up so that you are nice and symmetrical, and to hopefully get the same level of strength in both sides. So that's the idea behind doing it. So yeah, I've found that as I've gotten better at movements and as I've got stronger throughout the years of me training, that there is less imbalances within my physique from kind of rep matches. But like one here or there isn't going to make a massive difference. But you look to obviously aim to match. But I don't ever leave one in the tank just to make sure that I match, if that makes sense. So yeah. Oh, fuck off, you cunt. Little ones count.
Yeah? Let's go. Oh yeah. Let's get it moving. Come on. Perfect. That's better. Let's go. Yeah, control change your direction. 2 more. Let's go. Change your direction. Yeah. Better, mate. Better. Brace her.
One more rep. Drive the hard. There we go. Complete a rep. Strong. Strong. Yes. Control.
Were they okay?
Look. I was recording then. As I started to look to shout at you, I started slipping. But I came back. I love the cameras. Oh fuck.
Were they okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. I'm buzzing with that. $89 plus 1 first 9. That was 1 little plate up from last time with the same reps. Happy with that. Was it? Fuck it off. Fucking off. They were big TVs. I look ecstatic, don't I?
Yo, this is something darkness.
There we go, mate, come on. Control change direction. Control the intensity. Come on, move. There we go. Control the power. Boom, there we go, there we strong. Come on. Drive, mate, drive. Up, again. Drive it up. Yeah, boys. There we go, there we go, there we go. Complete that fucking red.
Come on, do it for you, Alex. Come on. Come on, yeah.
Beautiful.
So,
Yeah, boy. Easy work, mate. Come on. Fucking get it. Come on. Come on, mate. Keep fucking going, mate. Beautiful. Come on. Keep going. Come on. More. Let's go. Again. Come on.
work.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Finish it.
Easy.
Wrist, sorry.
I just think I broke my
That's
wrist.
right, yeah, that's right.
session, Meek?
Schmack! Yeah, my session was really good. Progressed on everything. I even progressed on a thing that I thought that I wasn't going to progress on, so I'm happy about that.
Hold on, yeah. Hold on.
As you can see, motivation comes from within, not external. No, yeah, the session was really good. Really happy. Excited to, that's my face when Kim was driving. Excited to see and continue progressing, especially the Nautilus. Like three plates is a pretty big deal for me. So maybe it's not a lot for a lot of people, but for me that's pretty good going, especially with being able to control it maybe a little bit more next time. But that control to me was quite good, as was the depth. So if I can continue building, obviously, hopefully it means that I'll gain extra tissue. Arguably, like the majority of extra tissue does need to go to the back of my legs, but we're working on that, especially in the sessions that obviously that is predominantly for, but obviously need to progress all around anyway. But yeah, happy. Gonna go and eat and cook. I'm just here chopping my meat. We're going to talk about progression of me chopping my meat. Okay. So, Edward thought it would be a fabulous idea to talk about obviously the differences from last off-season to this off-season, things that we've learned, things that we've done better, because arguably obviously last off-season was one of the best off-seasons that I've had, especially with the amount of progress that I actually made, which is great. Obviously I'm obviously going to really put myself down, so yeah, the progress that I did make obviously was good. Obviously it's still not good enough to be super competitive on a figure stage, but again, I don't really think that people understand how competitive the Pro League is. I think that people in the UK very quick, I don't know if it's like that in the rest of the world, but people in the UK are very quick to put people down about their placings, especially when they get into the Pro Leagues, and I don't really think that they understand how competitive they are. Like, I can only really speak on like a female level, but obviously classes like figure, bikini, women's physique, women's bodybuilding are very, very, very competitive and very, very heavily densed in terms of the amount of competitors in any pro show that you go to. It's not just like 10 competitors here, 5 competitors there. You're talking like, especially now with how popular it is, like I've not been in a lineup that's been any less than 24. So that's probably even larger than the majority of my amateur competitions that I did as a bikini girl. I'm pretty sure that that's the most people that I've ever stood on stage with, if I remember rightly. So they're heavily packed, and I don't think that people really understand how competitive they really are, and the fact that when you first start, for your first few years, unless you are some kind of super goddess that obviously has a fabulous physique that's ready for the pro rank straight away, it's going to take you a little bit of time to obviously work your way up. Obviously I started at the bottom of the ranks of bikini, never mind figure, so obviously trying to work my way up from being an absolute tiny little dot to being something that's a little bit extra massive. So yeah, anyway, I feel like I can talk about progress because I feel like lots of good progress was made last off season. I'm probably going to hurt Ed's arm talking shit, so I apologise to Ed in advance, and if any of you don't want to listen to it, turn it off. Anyway, so the things that we obviously learned last off season was that I definitely got way too out of shape way too quickly, which meant that just kind of the progression stopped towards the end, and we just continued to push when there was not really anywhere to push, because I was feeling like ridiculously sick when I was eating my food. If you don't digest your food, it doesn't do anything for performance, it doesn't do anything for helping with muscle growth, so it's important that you actually do keep that there. There's an element of feeling uncomfortable, there is an element of pushing through when you're feeling hungry, but there is a point when appetite just literally comes to an absolute shitstorm, and it's important that obviously that you understand the difference between that. Not be a pussy, but understand that there's time to probably take a little bit of a back step. So that's probably one of the biggest things that we learned. So from that, what we've done is we've not pushed too hard with food too quickly this time, which has enabled me to keep kind of, when you first come out of prep, obviously you are going to get bloated because you've had foods or an amount of foods that you've not had for a long time. So it does take time for your belly to settle, which is normal for a competitor. Probably not normal for a person that's not normal, but I'm not talking about a normal person, I'm talking about a competitor before anybody comes at me. So yeah, that was the biggest thing, I think. Just not pushing the food too hard too quickly. Keeping a level of expenditure in there has helped massively as well, because I got way too unfit too quickly last off season. I remember I was coming to like December time, I was struggling to get my hands around my back, I was struggling to put my socks on. Like, that's not like me. I was taking the dogs on a walk and I was just so like lethargic, whereas this time we've kept my cardio in. We've definitely kept health at the front of our mind in terms of cardiovascular health, which helps me in the gym. Like, I don't gas out in sets. That's probably why I've been able to build up strength now surpassing all off seasons before. Now, like, so close per show that, like, I just feel great when I go in the gym. I don't feel sluggish. Like, I don't feel very comfortable right now. Cuba knows that I don't. Maybe I try to put on a front that a lot of the time I do feel comfortable, which I do, but then there is an element of me being a lady. Like, I'm not a regular gym goer. I can't be someone who looks like the lovely ladies that come to the gym that we go to, that are lovely and slender and looking all nice and kind of flowy in the gym. Like, I'm off season as a woman competitor that's shoveling 5,000 calories. Like, I actually have surpassed 5,000 calories now in terms of my off-season diet. Like, I'm shoveling that down my throat. Like, I'm heavy. I feel a bit swollen. Like, I am a bit swollen. I've got a chubbier face. I'm chubbier everywhere. And, like, it's not the nicest of feelings, and I am a little bit uncomfortable, but I know that uncomfortableness is what's going to push me to get the great progression for next time I actually step on stage. So it's needed. So food, health, and then assistance as well, which is slightly different to last year. If you actually want to see the differences that we've made to assistance this time, which is not really massive in terms of the things that I'm taking, but just in regards to length of time on, length of time off, compared to last time. It's just slightly different approach per show. Obviously got things in to help with my natural levels of hormones, kind of estrogen, testosterone, etc., to make sure that everything's at a good level so that I actually feel good a lot of the time, because I was feeling really shit last year a lot of the time, like low and whatnot, and like people don't understand, especially as a female, the pressure that you put on your body when you're in a deficit. Like, you are gonna mess with your hormone levels, including your testosterone, which helps you feeling good, if you continue to diet all of the time. That's why it's so important to take time away from stage, build up food and feel good, because things like that are hard to bring back to life, and you don't want to end up in a really fucking bad place post competing, just for the sake of going season after season after season after season after season. I want to compete for a long time, I want to be great, but I also want to feel good for life afterwards as well. So that's what I'm doing. But all of my details are actually on Training by JP, all of the juicy details. Obviously I'll not go through that on here, not something that you obviously want to promote, because that's my choice. But yeah, all of my details of that are on there. Right, we'll move on to something different now. Did I talk too long?
No, but I did feel very threatened by you waving that knife like that. I'm sure the viewers are a bit like, what?
Caesar wants this. Good boy for waiting so well. Are you actually going to eat it? That is the question. Get it. Well done. Just going to weigh my meat. Right, okay. So, progression. Obviously, there is a lot of talk about what's the best way to progress, the right methods of progression. You know what? There's no right or wrong way of progression. Everybody's going to have their own opinions as to what's best, because that's what works for them. But at the end of the day, the best way to make progress is doing something that you truly love. Like, I couldn't do something like high volume, because honestly I'd be absolutely fucked, and do you know what, I've done it before and I didn't really make any progress. I still trained well in terms of my form at the time, but obviously was training more volume, and I just didn't make any progress for me, because I go all out when I do my sets, and honestly, like, I've got nothing left when I've finished my set. So it's just something that doesn't work for me. It's not something that I think's a bad idea. I have a few clients that I have doing more volume because they haven't quite learned yet how to take things all the way there. That's obviously something between me and them as a coach, but that is just a fact. So yeah, I just don't think that there's one way to skin a cat. I think that there's a lot of kind of animosity and anger and frustration, and who does what better in the industry and what not. I think that the best way that you're going to make progress is doing something that you really love, that you really enjoy, that brings you happiness. And the most important thing is that you actually stay consistent with it. People jump from coach to coach, people jump from kind of method to method, thinking that there's a secret behind making progress. But unfortunately, the way that you're going to make progress is being consistent, is being a little bit boring in regards to doing all of the things that you need to. Like, the basic necessities of bodybuilding are simple. It's pretty much the same for every athlete. Train well, eat well, recover well, and just do that over and over and over again. And unfortunately, if you want to be good, you are going to have to be boring with it. Like, it's not fun, it's not fancy. Bodybuilding's not fancy. It's not something that's you're going to look great all of the time. It's not something that you're going to feel great all of the time. And being in competitive sport for all of my life, it's exactly the same in every single sport. I've spent my childhood literally eating, training, sleeping, repeating. That is literally what I did, and that's how I got to a high level in my previous sport. That is exactly what I'm doing right now. It might take me a while to get there, but unfortunately, consistency is what will get you there. Not looking for a method or a magic potion drug or looking for anything. It's literally hard work, being consistent, probably being a little bit boring, and just cracking on with it. Everybody just looks for something different and better and whatnot, and the most important thing is that you're happy doing what you're doing, and keep on doing it, keep on repeating the same thing over and over and over again, and you'll actually be able to make some incredible progress. But if you're someone that isn't consistent and you probably sat there, the ones that are probably thinking, oh my god, Meg, shut the fuck up because you're totally wrong, are probably the ones that can't stay consistent. And if that's you, then I'm really sorry, but you are going to have to stay consistent. You are going to have to repeat the same thing over and over again to make sure that you actually can make the progress that you're striving for. And unfortunately, one thing that you are going to find, it's going to be uncomfortable. Hard work is uncomfortable. Being pushed out of your comfort zone is the way that you are going to make progress. Hard, heavy training, eating to the point where you feel really full all of the time, doing that, sleeping at a sensible time, eating at the same time, doing the things that like basic bodybuilders have been doing for such a long time is what it's all about. Don't look for fancy new methods, don't look for fancy flappy things. Literally do the basic bare necessities consistently and well, and you'll actually make progress. And that's what a lot of people miss and that they don't do. And that's when they try to look for something different and try to look for something new, because they're not willing to unfortunately, sorry, but you're not willing to push past that point of it being fucking hard. Because it is hard, regardless of what method you use. If you're doing it properly, doing it consistently and pushing it there until it's really feeling uncomfortable, that's when you make progress. Not any other time. That is the only time that you'll make progress, and people can't deal with that. And unfortunately, that's what's going to set you aside from someone that will achieve greatness, regardless of what method you do. They're beasts. They're people that are willing to do whatever it takes in terms of repetition and boringness and whatnot, and feeling a little bit down and angry about the fact that they don't look great, or that it's hard and it's feeling sore and whatnot. And that's how you make progress, and that's how you're going to be great. So take from it what you will. So this is the end of the Megisode. Goodbye. I hope that you've liked it. I feel like I've talked that much that there's not really much for me to say right now, but Ed makes me do the ending anyway, so here I am, sat on the sofa with the dog at the end of the day, ready to eat my second to last meal, which is, for people that are interested, 100 grams of rice, 100 grams of steak, some veggies mixed in there. Caesar's gonna have the same. We're gonna eat it together, sitting on the table, looking lovingly into each other's eyes. No, I'm kidding. We're gonna sit and watch some telly. We've been watching The Witcher, which we really enjoyed, don't we, Caesar? Yeah. Oh yeah, he just wanted to manoeuvre himself a little bit closer to me because he loves me. Not like Cooper. He loves me all the time. Loves me. I like to pretend that he does. I just think I make him love me. Right, so that's the end of my episode. Hope that you enjoyed it. If there's anything that you'd like us to cover, let us know and we will cover it for you. Drop it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that fancy stuff. And I'll see you soon.